There are stories that seem too strange to be true, yet they cling to whispers and shadows, lurking in the underbelly of reality. This is one such story, a tale of fear, theft, and a haunting no one saw coming. It began in the chaos of a Lagos market, a place brimming with life and energy. The air smelled of fried snacks and dried fish, mingling with the sound of bargaining voices. Among the moving throng was Dayo, a man of habit, heading home after buying vegetables for his wife's favorite stew. But today would not end like any other. As Dayo moved through the crowd, a stranger brushed against him, brief but deliberate. Startled, he turned. The man, tall and gaunt, had an unsettling presence. His face was ordinary, but his eyes, empty. The stranger muttered something incoherent before vanishing into the crowd. Moments later, a wave of cold swept over Dayo. His heart raced as an unspeakable dread gripped him. And then it hit, an absence so profound it could not be ignored. Panic set in. He stumbled to the nearest stall, whispering frantically to the vendor, "Something is wrong. My penis, it's gone." The market erupted. Fingers pointed, voices shouted. Dayo accused the stranger. "He touched me?" he yelled. The crowd swelled with fury, cornering a man they believed to be the culprit. But the accused man stood defiant, denying it all. Then came the dreaded request. A man in the crowd, older and commanding respect, said, "Let's check him, strip him." The accused struggled, but the crowd overpowered him. His clothes were torn away, leaving him exposed. There was no evidence, no stolen manhood. Dayo's accusations dissolved into doubt and shame. Dayo's life was never the same. The whispers of what happened followed him like a shadow. The market avoided him. His friends distanced themselves. Even his wife looked at him differently. But the real terror came in the stillness of night, when he swore he could hear a voice, faint and mocking. "I never left," it would say, from deep within his mind. In Nigeria, tales of stolen manhood may sound like urban legends, but they're stories rooted in fear, of the unknown, of powerlessness, of curses and whispers in the dark. Whether real or imagined, one thing is certain: some things once taken can never be fully returned.
It was a night like any other in Lagos, Nigeria, a city that never sleeps, where secrets linger in dark alleys, and some tales are better left untold. But one man's story became a chilling warning for all who dared to hear it. A crowded street in Lagos at twilight, vendors shouting, cars honking, and the neon glow of bars and clubs lining the streets. The atmosphere feels lively but slightly foreboding. Gbolawaga was a man of routine, a Lagosian through and through. That Friday night, he had no idea his life was about to change forever. Inside a dimly lit bar, Gbolawaga sits at a table nursing his drink. A mysterious woman enters, her presence captivating the room. She locks eyes with Boluga and approaches. She was mesmerizing, an otherworldly beauty whose eyes seemed to pierce through his very soul. Her name was Moyo, or so she claimed. The two sit close, laughing and talking. Moyo leans in, whispering something into Gbolawaga ear. He nods, and they leave the bar together. Gbolawaga felt like he had won the lottery. She suggested they find somewhere more private, and he eagerly agreed. A small, poorly lit hotel room with peeling wallpaper and a flickering ceiling fan. Gbolawaga sits on the edge of the bed while Moyo stands in front of him, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Gbolawaga didn't notice the warning signs, the unnatural glow in her eyes or the coldness in her touch. He was too enthralled to care. Gbolawaga wakes up alone in the room. The sunlight filters weakly through a dirty window. He checks himself and realizes, in growing horror, that his manhood is gone. When he woke up, Moyo was gone. But that wasn't the worst of it. Gbolawaga realized to his horror that something vital, something personal, had vanished. Gbolawaga stumbles out of the hotel, half dressed and screaming. People gather around him, their faces a mix of shock and pity. He ran into the street, shouting for help, but the crowd only stared, unsure whether to believe his wild claims. Gbolawaga sits before a group of elderly men and women in a small dark room filled with traditional charms and faint candlelight. One of the elders speaks gravely. The elders listened to his story and confirmed his worst fears. Moyo was no ordinary woman. She was a spirit, a collector of men's pride. Gbolawaga lies in bed at night, drenched in sweat. At the foot of his bed stands a shadowy figure, Moyo, her face obscured but her glowing eyes unmistakable. Boluwaga never recovered. Every night she visited him, her shadowy figure a reminder of what he had lost. He would never be whole again. To this day, Boluwaga's story serves as a warning. Be wary of beauty that feels too perfect, for it may come at a price too steep to pay. In the heart of Nigeria, nestled between bustling markets and quiet neighborhoods, stood a small pharmacy owned by a modest but well-respected pharmacist named Femi. He was a man known for his knowledge and care, but little did he know that his life was about to take a horrifying turn. One fateful night after closing his shop, Femi encountered a mysterious woman in the alley behind his pharmacy. She was beautiful, yet enigmatic, her eyes filled with an unusual intensity. They exchanged pleasantries. "Hello, my Femi, but people call me Austafem." And fueled by curiosity and impulsive desire, he invited her into his home for a drink. The night progressed, and what began as innocent flirtation quickly spiraled into darkness. As dawn approached, Femi realized he had engaged in a passionate encounter with the mysterious woman, forgetting all caution. But as the sun rose, he felt an unsettling change within him, an inexplicable impotence. As days turned into weeks, Femi impotence became a relentless nightmare. His once thriving practice began to crumble. Patients noticed his distracted demeanor, and rumors spread through the community. He became a shell of his former self, haunted by the encounter that changed everything. To this day, Femi wanders through life, a haunted figure marked by his fate. As the sun sets behind the pharmacy, the rumors of his impotence continue to echo through the streets of his town. The strange lady may be gone, but her curse remains, an eternal reminder of one night stand of reckless desire. And so the tale of Femi serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind our choices. Beware of the unknown, for sometimes desire comes at a price. In Lagos, Nigeria, the city that never sleeps, whispers of the supernatural have long been intertwined with the bustling chaos. This is the story of Tunde, an Uber driver, and a ride he will never forget. Tunde, an Uber driver in his early 30s, is driving through the quiet, dimly lit streets of Lagos at night. The car's headlights illuminate the deserted road ahead. A notification chime alerts him to a new ride request. Like most nights, Tunde was working late, driving through the silent streets, eager to make a few more fares before heading home. A notification broke the silence. It was a ride request from a location he didn't recognize. Tunde arrives at the pickup point, a dimly lit, overgrown roadside. A woman in a white dress emerges from the shadows. Her movements are slow and deliberate as she steps into the car. He arrived at the pickup point, a desolate stretch of road. She emerged from the darkness, her white dress shimmering faintly in the dim light. Without a word, she entered the car, her silence chilling. The woman sits silently in the back seat, staring straight ahead. Tunde occasionally glances at her in the rearview mirror, noticing her expressionless face and the way her hands rest unnaturally on her lap. The ride was unnervingly quiet. She didn't speak, didn't move, and her presence felt heavy, as though the air in the car had thickened. Tunde couldn't help but glance at her through the mirror. Her face was blank, unnervingly so. As the car nears the destination, Tunde looks back to confirm her address, but finds the back seat empty. Panic sets in as he realizes she is no longer in the car. Approaching the destination, Tunde turned to confirm her address, but the back seat was empty. His heart raced. She was gone, vanished without a sound. Tunde arrives at the destination, a crumbling, abandoned house. The windows are shattered, and the surrounding area is overgrown with weeds. A strange feeling washes over him as he steps out of the car to investigate. Following the GPS, Tunde arrived at an old, decrepit house. The windows were shattered, and the yard was overgrown. Something about the place felt deeply wrong, yet he couldn't bring himself to drive away. A curious neighbor approaches Tunde, questioning why he's there. She explains that the woman he described died years ago in a tragic accident. A neighbor appeared, her face etched with suspicion. When Tunde described his passenger, the woman froze. "That's impossible," she said. "She died here years ago, killed in a tragic accident." The neighbor recounts the story of the woman's death, a horrific car crash late at night, eerily similar to Tunde's ride. The neighbor recounted the tragic story. The woman had been killed in a crash on this very road, late at night. It was said her spirit lingered, seeking to relive her final journey. Terrified, Tunde races back to his car and drives away. His face is pale, his hands trembling on the wheel. The camera focuses on his reflection in the rearview mirror, which shows the woman sitting silently in the back seat once again. Overcome with fear, Tunde fled, driving as fast as he could. But as he glanced into the rearview mirror, his blood ran cold. She was there, silent, waiting. To this day, Tunde refuses to drive at night. He tells his story as a warning to others. Some passengers are not of this world. In Lagos, the dead still travel among the living,